You win 6 out of 7 at any stage of an NHL season, and you're doing okay. I don't think anybody would question that component of what's happened here of late. But man, good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into football and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Penguins versus Avalanche tonight at PPG Paints Arena. That's a 7:08 p.m. face-off. I'll be there covering it for DK Pittsburgh Sports. It'll be Sidney Crosby against best bud Nathan MacKinnon, and there's some other subplots to that. Everybody gets a chance to watch the great Cale Makar in person. And yet for me, the most intriguing subplot, if it's even a subplot, will be whether or not winning 6 out of 7 means something. The season's been thrown a figurative life raft, and that's nice because, irrelevant hockey's no fun. And there have been some legit positives, small and large, within this. Again, I'm not taking any credit away from that. I didn't see it coming. And it's quite possible that I was premature in burying these guys a couple weeks ago. I mean, big time burying them. But there's a big difference between that and saying, all right, this is at least the right trajectory. They've at least been put on the proper track. And I don't know, I'm not there yet. Maybe I'm a little bit jaded because I went to New York and covered that game against the Rangers. That was the one loss in this whole sequence, but it was one loss that looked exactly like the first 20 games of this schedule, and that it looked so sloppy and disorganized and sluggish and disinterested that it made me think that everything that led up to it was just a joke. But then they come home, they do their thing against the Maple Leafs, and now they've got a chance again tonight against an obviously strong Colorado lineup to take another stride. And I'm still sitting here right now thinking it's not going to go well. Why? Well, because I'm still not seeing the kind of defensive habits, the kind of defensive proficiency, even once you have the habits, that would begin building the very real foundation that's needed here. Because if the Penguins remain among the leakiest teams in the league, whether that's actual goals or whether that's even just shots or shot attempts or possession, they're not going anywhere. No matter what kind of Phil Tomasino miracle comes along and pops a few goals and gets you a couple W's, you're going to need to have a framework for success. And that framework, as everybody on the inside, chiefly Mike Sullivan, will state, has to be on the back end and your responsibility with the puck once you win it. To that end, I believe that the defense corps is still arguably 2 down in terms of the number of NHL defensemen needed. Certainly 1, and that 1 is Matt Grzelcyk, and Grzelcyk's going to be right back in the lineup again tonight because he was right back out there on all his usual roles at practice yesterday. Third pairing with Ryan Graves, wrong side, by the way, and second power play. He'll be out there again, he'll hurt the team again, and nothing will happen as a result of that. Before coming on to talk with you today, I went, mostly just for myself, I looked at the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton results of late. I looked at their statistics. I looked at some of the individuals that I at least kind of liked in training camp and preseason. And I'm not going to lie to you here. There's not anybody that I'd bring up in his place. Would I use Ryan Shea in his place? Sure, he's going to be scratched. But I understand why Jack St. Ivany was sent back. I understand what he needs to do to get to where we all thought he'd be, or at least where I thought he'd be. And then I feel like I start getting a little bit desperate. I'm looking at Philip Kral, who's 25. Yeah, he's 25 years old. Really good skater, good attitude. I enjoyed dealing with him in camp. And he'll bring some offense. A week or so ago, he had 2 goals and 2 assists in one game in the AHL. But there's a reason that he has spent all the time that he has in the minors, and that's that he's not particularly proficient at defending either. But, you know, this Grzelcyk thing doesn't stop the rest of the team from becoming generally better. And there have been some steps taken, some forward steps taken in that area. I don't know. I don't know. This is what Sullivan had to say yesterday after practice on what he's seen from his team of late.
Well, I just admire their resilience. I think that's such an important part of a team's ability to have success. And, if you get overwhelmed by circumstance, it can be hard to recover from. And I think this is a group that's a pretty accomplished group with a lot of players in the room. They're on too many situations they haven't already been through. And so I just give them a lot of credit for, ignoring the noise and not getting overwhelmed by the circumstance and just coming to work every day and try to dig our way out of it. And that's the only solution. And so, to their credit, nobody looked for excuses. We were just trying to find solutions and try to figure out how as a group we could get better and try to get different results.
Yeah, I get that. He's not about to nitpick over W's. He's very, very much within his rights to say things are getting better. I want to see more. When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts.
Abandoned ship, Bob. Sell the team. Are you a Pirates fan who is angry or apathetic about our perennial losing baseball team? Do you feel helpless because you don't know how to make a difference? Well, good news. We have something you can do about it. Join our Sell the Team movement. We're a group of passionate fans voicing our frustration and demanding change through billboard campaigns, press outreach, protests, and involvement at local city government meetings. Go to OurTeamNotHis.com to get involved.
Today's J1Q comes from Jacoby, who asks, DK, do you think that the potential flashes we've seen from Jack St. Ivany over the past few months and a bright overall game from Owen Pickering give Kyle Dubas more of a peace of mind if it were to come to moving one of the intermittently bad defensemen? For $5 million plus, I hate the Ryan Graves contract, and I think they could find much better value out there, but he's at least been better than last season for what that's worth. Genuinely, I just cannot ride the Matt Grzelcyk roller coaster of is he that bad or is he okay enough anymore. Jacoby, I think what you're doing here with how many different scenarios did you lay out there? 3, 4? And you yourself didn't even come to a conclusion here. I'm not criticizing you here. I'm just pointing out how complicated a conversation this is. It is. There isn't a, snap your finger, super obvious thing where you make everything better. Not in the back end. And I'm not suggesting either that Dubas is without blame for that. He's the one that signed Graves to that contract. He's the one that brought Grzelcyk in for some reason at $2.75 million. But there isn't I'm going to invoke him again here. Phil Tomasino. There isn't just a magical go out and find somebody else's young defenseman that they don't want and send them a couple of draft picks and bring them here and let them see the light and find the way. We don't know what Tomasino is going to end up being here. We don't. He was in Nashville way longer than he's been here. So he's had a long time to carve out what his ledger is, what his resume is to date. And just coming to Pittsburgh and skating next to Gino and feeling all happy and loose and fun and free because he's finally back on the ice with regular duties. We'll see how that goes over time. But I'll take it for where it is. And I would definitely take something similar when it comes to a defenseman. If you're looking for a parallel of any kind, actually, that would be more rooted in reality, I'd go back to the acquisition from Anaheim of Marcus Pettersson. that Jim Rutherford executed. He saw that they didn't really have that much use for him. He was only 22, had, even at the time, that awkward build that makes you kind of doubt whether or not he can withstand the rigors of playing 82 games plus in the NHL. But he's been that guy, and he's been that guy almost without exception since he got here. That's the kind of thing I think you need to do. But you know what? Those are the kinds of circumstances that are not within your control. You can't just look around at 31 other teams and say, well, here are 6 or 7 teams that have a similar option for us, or similar scenario that we can seize upon. No, there might not be any. There might not be any. So part of what Dubas is doing here, and I again, given his mistakes, there's always got to be that asterisk there. I'll give him at least the benefit of the doubt when it comes to taking the right approach, and that's patience. Tomasino looks like a nice acquisition. Tomasino doesn't happen like that. He had to wait on it. He had to make sure that he didn't give away all this stockpiling of draft picks that he had just because he was in a big hurry back in, August or September. But he did it when Tomasino came available. He was ready. He had the capital that the Predators were looking for, and he pulled off the exchange, and the exchange has gone well. That's what it's going to take. And unfortunately, it's going to take more Grizzly too. It just is. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow.